Hey everyone, it's Jeremy with Teletone. Have a fun one for you today. I want to do drums with Silver Spring, which is our new Spring Reverb plugin, 4 different ways. So let's just jump right in. And I would like to go in order of complexity, starting with the simplest one. This is going to be the most obvious use, which is just to throw a reverb on the entire kit. For this example, I'm going to be using Solfi actually throughout this whole video. And I have the individual drums routed to their individual channels, even just for speed. But I'm going to go ahead and put an instance of Silver Spring on the master bus. So it will be processing all this together. You probably feel like you don't really need a tutorial telling you how to put reverb onto drums, but I have a couple of thoughts on this. And because we're not using any of this processing, I decided to go ahead and use Tone Architect on the kick drum. I'll show you a little bit of before and after with that. So I'm kind of just like filling it out a bit, making it a bit boomier, adding some saturation. First of all, when you're going to put it on the entire kit, I would recommend staying away from any of the super washy sounding ones that have a really long tail. I would steer you towards maybe something from the ripple category or even the torrent category. Let's go ahead and start up here. There's this one, this 202. This is from a home stereo Spring Reverb unit. And when we sampled this, I was not 100% sure of what I would use it for, but it turns out everything. It's very cool. It's got a lot of vibe. That is a big part of why I am so excited about using the Spring Reverb as a reverb now, is because it is instant vibe and instant personality. It gives life and personality to these tracks more than just your run-of-the-mill hall reverb is going to do. So I'm going to start with this one. It's kind of an obscure one, but it sounds a little bit almost more like a delay. So you can hear it's very dark. It's got a lot of personality. Let's use this high pass to make sure we're staying a little bit more out of the way of the kick drum. And then let's add some drive. This is only going to affect the wet signal. And then if we wanted to cut down the decay a little bit, just to make sure it's kind of out of the way by the next time the kick hits, we can turn that decay down a little bit. So that could be a good choice, this 202W. Let's just look at one more. Okay, this RV1 reverse, this is a Furman Spring Reverb. Let me go ahead and reset this, and I'll put pre-delay around 2.5 milliseconds. We'll keep the decay all the way up. This is a reversed Spring Reverb, and this can be fun for a kit because it kind of adds additional rhythm to it. It can sometimes help the groove. And depending on where you're listening, if you're listening on your phone, you won't hear this, but there is a little bit of movement happening from the left channel to the right channel. I'm noticing I forgot to mention that I'm also using Tone Architect on the drum bus itself, so I'll go ahead and show that to you too. Giving it a little bit of warmth, a little bit of bite. Okay, so I told you that I had routed these drums using the multi-output function in Solfi. We do have a tutorial about this on our YouTube channel if you're not sure how to do it. But you can see that the kick is set out to stereo 1 output, snare is going to 2, and on and on and on. I have routed the percussion all to the same channel, and that was for good reason. This is kind of another thing you could do, is take all your percussion in your beat and just route that to a Spring Reverb. Once again, you probably didn't need me to tell you that, but I want to give you some ideas here. Okay, so let's find something for this percussion. For the percussion, I do want something a little bit more washy. Maybe something from this silver category. Let's try this Great British Hawk. Now this is the Great British Spring Reverb, and then I ran that into the Hawk Reverb. So these are kind of like my two favorite spring reverbs, and we chained them together and then sampled them, and the result was actually something pretty cool. So now the rest of the drums are going to be dry, and just the percussion is going to have the reverb on it. And you can hear that there's some claps that come in on the offbeats, which are really kind of triggering that more springy sound. And I really love this treatment, taking all the percussion, routing it to one of these spring reverb units, and then letting everything else be dry. I think this is a very cool treatment. While we're here, let's just hear one more other option. All right, let's try this surfy one. I'm gonna cut out a little bit of the highs. Okay, number 3, with some of my additional thoughts, putting the reverb on just the snare, and I want to talk about how I would tackle that. So this is another one that I think that you can really take advantage of the personality that you are getting from these spring reverb units to give a lot more personality to your beat. I have this TrueVerb short pulled up because when I was getting ready for this video, there was something interesting happening with the rhythm that I thought was kind of cool. Now, again, I am just putting a reverb on the snare only. Not because I want the snare to sound bigger or that it's in a different room, but I want to give the snare some personality and some life. And I'm going to shorten this decay right off the bat. Okay, the fourth one is kind of going to be in 2 parts, and this is one that maybe you hadn't thought of. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the Silver Spring plugin on a send. Up to this point, I've actually just been using it as an insert on everything, but now I've made it into a send, and I am sending the snare to it. And I think I might still be using the same one we used a minute ago. Oh no, this is actually the RA500, but this is the time-stretched version of that. Okay, so it's on a send, but then after, so it's on its own effects channel here, and I've added a compressor after it with the sidechain on. And so now I have the snare going to the Silver Spring Reverb effects channel, and then there is a compressor after it. It needs to be after it for this trick to work. And then I have my sidechain button on, and we're going to send the kick to sidechain that snare reverb. So let's turn this on, and then here's the result. We'll kind of fiddle with it a little bit. All right, let's hear a different option here. Let's go a little more aggressive with it. Let's turn this up. Let's find something with a longer tail. it almost becomes like a whole new instrument. And so I'm going to hang here for just a minute and try a few more things because I think this is really fun. So one little variation on that is we could take our kick drum, send it to the reverb channel, and then also have the kick sidechain its own reverb. So the first thing we need to do is it needs to go to the reverb. So we have sent our kick drum over to our reverb channel. And then now we are going to sidechain that exact same reverb. Okay, so those are some fun ideas. You probably already knew how to do some of that, but I wanted to give a little bit of guidance on the types of reverb units that I am selecting for different things and how to manipulate those to make your drum beats sound more interesting. I love these spring reverb units. They add instant personality, instant vibe to whatever you are making. When you do make something, make sure to tag us, let us know what you're doing. We want to see your ideas. Thank you so much for watching.